Hello again. It's been a few weeks. I'll be doing a video on don't be coming in here. Don't come in here. If Deku became a SlendyTubbie. Yes, a SlendyTubbie. Midoriya was born as a Teletubby. A red one, this red one. Except he had eyes, and he was kind, and he was alive. Midoriya was bullied for the way he looked. Midoriya may have been a kind person, but he was always bullied by Bakugo and Bakugo's friends, quote-unquote friends. A few years later, his mom loved him though still. A few years later, middle school, Midoriya was sitting on the roof when Bakugo came up, talking to his friends. Midoriya didn't notice or hear them coming up, because he was in a daydream. As the bell rang, Midoriya got up. When he turned around, Bakugo and his friends were right behind him. Bakugo said, what was he gonna say? He said, "Hope you can fly, nerd," before he pushed Deku off the building. As Midoriya fell, he screamed. Jesus, I wasn't supposed to do that. As he hit the ground, teachers and students came running out, and they saw Deku on the floor, bleeding out. They thought he had tried the KHS. Not KMS, KHS, never mind. Okay. As the principal called 911 or whatever number it is in their country, students took pictures and posted it on social media and recorded videos of what happened. The teachers kept telling the students to go inside, but no one listened. Bakugo and his friends came down and pretended to be shocked. As Midoriya was taken to the hospital in an ambulance, he was in a coma for a while. Also, Deku's food he can only eat is custards. He can only eat custard. When Midoriya was in the hospital, his mom came in crying. So did Bakugo's mom, with Bakugo. She said, "I am so sorry, Midoriya, I failed you." Bakugo's mom stood there, quiet, with an upset look. She had her hand on Bakugo's shoulder. Bakugo was looking the other way, with an angry expression. A few months later, Midoriya woke up. After a few more days of tests, he had made a full recovery. He was sent back home. His mother cried, and she was happy that her son made a full recovery. And Midoriya was happy that he did too. He's also quite forgiving, so he forgave Bakugo, but he didn't tell him that yet. That night, while Midoriya was asleep, okay. A mad scientist villain had broken into their house while they were asleep. A villain had broken into their house. While sneaking around to steal stuff, he spotted Deku. He took Deku and left. That morning, his mom woke up to see to go see Deku and wake him up, but he wasn't there. When she ran downstairs to see where he was, she saw a broken window and some of their stuff gone. She realized not only had Midoriya been kidnapped, but they were robbed at the same time. She called the police. She told them what had happened. The police said that they'd be on the case. A few hours later, the news was told about this, heard about it, and they went live and were on the case. Well, not on the case, but yeah. When Midoriya woke up, he was tied down to a bed. And some of his pink custards that he has to eat were there. That the only food he can survive on were there. There were some people there. They looked to be scientists. They wanted to experiment on Deku. Their lab scientist. One of them held a knife and a scalpel and said, "Okay, this is gonna hurt, so I'm gonna have to numb you." The doctor numbed Deku and put him to sleep. Not kill him, but put him to sleep with some stuff, so he also wouldn't feel the pain. That's when he started to carve out Midoriya's eyes. Like this. He was left like this. When Midoriya woke up, he couldn't see a thing. Not a thing. He couldn't see anything. It was just black. He could hear, but he couldn't see. When the numbing wore off, he started to feel pain around his eyes, and that's when the pain became unbearable. As Midoriya started to cry and scream, he cried out blood instead. When one of the scientists had a syringe, a big kind of wide syringe, a big cylinder, and it had a black liquid in it, he injected it into the custards that Deku ate. As he told Midoriya, "Don't worry, little Midoriya." I don't know how. Well, no, he doesn't know his name. "Don't worry, little red guy. It'll all be over soon." That's when he said, "Eat up, it'll help you." As Midoriya ate all the custards, when he finished them all, there was a weird taste. There was abdominal pain in Deku's body. Until he couldn't handle anymore, and his heart stopped, and he died. Right there. But something was keeping his body alive. Well, not alive, but yes, alive. Well, they thought he had died, but he didn't die, so. That's when Midoriya's strength increased, and he started to tear out of the restraints he was in. As he had stood up, he could smell the scientists. He attacked each and every one of them, ripping out their jaws, tearing off their heads, tearing out their eyes. Midoriya then left. Somehow, he could use kind of echolocation to find things. He left again. While Midoriya was walking, he heard a siren behind him. Multiple sirens. There was cops. And they said they had found the boy. When Midoriya, this is supposed to take a whole different area, but this is supposed to go a whole different way, but whatever. Midoriya was approached by the cop, he stopped. Midoriya turned around, and the cop, when he saw Midoriya's face, he was horrified. Midoriya's face was gray. It used to be kind of white, pale. And now it was gray. His eyes were missing, bloodied out. And he attacked the officer. He ripped off the officer's arm. And he stabbed his own, and then shoved the officer's arm down his own throat. Down the officer's throat. Which killed the officer. The other police officers were horrified as they aimed their guns and told him to stop moving. Midoriya kept approaching them. That's when the chief said, "Open fire." They all opened fire on Midoriya. Yeah, they all opened fire on Midoriya. Each of them shot him in his chest. There's about 15 cops there, so as Midoriya fell to the ground, his body started to twitch and evolve. Yeah, I'll show you the evolved body. Here's his evolved body. Little, whatever those are. As Midoriya stood up, red dots appeared in his eyes. He could see again. And his smile, just pretend there's no teeth, started to stretch upwards his face. It kind of cracked at places, but it stretched up. It was all blackened out. Midoriya ran at the officers as they opened fire. His little blades on his back, I guess, kind of cut the bullets and stopped them from hitting him. He killed every single one of the officers that were there. As Midoriya started to walk away to find more, he realized something. Midoriya cut himself and put some of his blood into one of the officers. The officer's skin started to turn yellow. It was a female officer. Before it became a yellow SlendyTubbie, and its body was evolved. She had no eyes, but she had amazing hearing. Her body was elongated. Her name, I'm not going to say her name, remember. Midoriya manipulated her and mind-told her, controlled her, and to go kill some more humans. She ran off into the big city. Midoriya made his way to he started to infect more of the officers that were dead, turning them all into SlendyTubbies. He was their supreme leader. Like Emperor Palpatine. So, after he had infected all of them, they all had run off into different directions, into different parts of the city. That's when Midoriya started to go. More officers started to show up, and his smile went wider. Well, stretched wider up his face. He infected all of those police officers too. Now he had almost an entire army of SlendyTubbies. As he walked towards a place to hide, He went to a place to hide, and he stayed there for a while. Let's say after hours, all the other SlendyTubbies were kind of defeated and captured and studied for science. They were kind of like the Nomus, but except they didn't have that have quirks in them. Well, they did kind of, but not really. They were discovered to be police officers. Fast forward, months later, after Midoriya's, I'll just call it, sleep and rest, after infecting others, his body had healed a bit from losing blood. Yes. I say, this is, before Bakugo gets kidnapped. Yes. When Midoriya walked out, he started to walk down the streets. He couldn't feel any other emotions but anger and rage. He wanted to find Bakugo and kill him immediately. While walking, he had to keep hiding in alleyways as to not be spotted by the public. Oh god, wait. He went into one alleyway as he was searching for Bakugo. He had gone into an alleyway, and there was a building. He went in through a door, and he went up, and there were stairs. He walked up the stairs. When he opened the door, there was a bar of people in there. There was a guy with a hand on his face with cyan, ashy blue hair. A girl in a school uniform, smiling, who had a huge smile on her face. An older guy with many scars, purple scars on his face, and blue and black hair, sitting down at one of the bar stools. A guy in a mask and a cloak. A kid, a male in a school uniform too, with a mask on. Yeah. There's also, and some guy in like a sane asylum clothes. But the only place exposed was his mouth area. And what was the last one? Oh, yes. And another guy in a full-on costume. There's a magic man, I guess. A magician. Another person with big lips and long hair. And finally, a man in, purple fog, yes. They all looked at Deku. And they got ready to attack. Midoriya screeched and got ready to attack too. That's when the ash blue hair said, "Wait." Midoriya stopped. and got out of his fighting stance. He knew that Deku wasn't a human. Well, was a human, but was inhuman. But an inhuman is something that never walked the earth in a human form. Whoops. Well, he was never in a human form, so, yeah. I guess you could say he was inhuman, so, yeah. The guy introduced himself as Shigaraki. He held his hand out for Deku to shake. Midoriya was hesitant at first. He couldn't resist his murderous urges, and he wanted to take the guy out and infect him right then and there. But he refused. He was able to refuse. And he shook the guy's hand. He told him that he was getting ready for they're getting ready for an attack in the forest that night. It was the middle of the day though, so they're gonna have to wait. While Midoriya waited, all of them introduced themselves. One's name was Big Sis Mag. The other one was Kurogiri, Gabi, Toga, Twice, Mustard. I think his name was Moonfish. I don't remember. And Muscular. I think that's all of them. The Vanguard Action Squad. They were going... Midoriya could speak, but if he were to speak, all you'd hear is grumbles, demonic grumbles. Dark, deep-voiced grumbles. That would... I don't know. But... Finally, the time struck, and they're going... Midoriya doesn't know that Bakugo is in UA. So when he went through a portal, they were on a mountain. And everyone started to leave the mountain and go to their places. Midoriya doesn't know where his place is. They told him that he would just attack, kill, just do whatever he wanted. He was supposed to be out there fighting Bakugo, not doing this. Midoriya sighed. Well, didn't sigh, but thought to himself, why am I doing this? I'm supposed to be out here hunting Bakugo to kill him. Get my revenge, but whatever. Midoriya jumped off the cliff and landed on the ground. When Midoriya was waiting, there was suddenly a foul smell in the air. When he looked up, there was black smoke and blue light. When Midoriya continued to run, he managed to find his way to a little circle area. Oh, and Mr. Compress. I forgot about Mr. Compress. Compress. Whatever. And Stinger. The green crocodile dude. Oh my gosh. Spinner. It's Spinner. Whoops. Not Stinger. When he got there, some of the kids that were there stopped and looked at Deku in a horrified state. Now it was his chance. As he lunged at one of the kids, he was suddenly kicked in the stomach and he hit a tree. There was some sort of dude in a skirt with two other hands below, on his, wherever that side part, whatever it's called, I don't know. Who was looking quite angrily at Deku. That's when the red orbs in his eyes appeared. He was mad. Midoriya screeched and jumped at the dude. As he started a fight, he realized, I need to go find Bakugo if he's here. That's when he heard, when Midoriya was kicked to a tree again, he took off into the forest. The guy didn't take chase, as he stayed and watched Midoriya flee. While in the forest, he heard a voice in his head. It said, everyone. Oh no, that doesn't make sense. Because Midoriya is the SlendyTubbie. It's the SlendyTubbie, and there can't be two Midoriyas. I am so dumb. Let's just say someone got captured, and they were forced to tell who they were going after. Midoriya heard a voice in his head, and it said, Bakugo, stay to one group. You need to stay with multiple people, as they are after you. Stay with multiple people, I guess, whatever, I don't know. Midoriya now knew Bakugo's here. I can take this chance to kill him for what he's done. This is his fault. Midoriya started to run to back, I don't know. That's when he landed on a path. And there were some students. A girl with brown hair, another girl with long swamp green hair, a guy with a bird kind of head, a boy with red and white hair in there, another one with multiple arms and a mask on his face, and there, Bakugo. When they saw Deku, they stopped. Midoriya stared right at Bakugo. Bakugo recognized him and said, Deku? The kids that were with Bakugo looked at Bakugo and said, you know him? And Bakugo said, I've had history. We've had history. He said, Bakugo. Midoriya screeched at Bakugo and said, this is your fault. In a dark, deep voice. You pushed me off a roof. This is what I've become because of you. He screeched yet again and ran at Bakugo full speed. Bakugo barely dodged one of his blades, but it grazed his cheek. Bakugo said, "Jeez." The other kids started to help. Midoriya could barely dodge them and said, "Nuisance! You guys are nuisances." That's when Mr. Compress appeared. It took not only Bakugo, but the black bird-haired kid, or person. None of the others realized that those two were gone. But when they looked around to see where they were going, when they saw Deku take off running down the path, they immediately said yes. When they looked, they couldn't see neither Bakugo nor Pearhead Kid. That's when they saw the other villain in the trees running. And they knew They had gotten those two. They all gave chase towards them too. Midoriya managed to get back to the circle area where Dabi, Twice, and Toga were already there. When Midoriya got there, he heard screaming. All three of them looked up, and there fell Mr. Compress. Dabi launched his flames at the kids. The two of them that were there dodged. Just barely. They attacked. Bakugo dealt with the girls. Midoriya dealt with the girls. Todoroki dealt with Twice. Wow. No, oh my god. Dealt with Peppermint. No, he dealt with Candy Cane. Yes, he dealt with Candy Cane. Twice dealt with Candy Cane. Wow. Dupla Arms dealt with Toga and Dabi. That's when portals appeared. They all stopped fighting and started to walk into the portals. I guess it's time to leave, Midoriya said. And Midoriya realized, he still has Bakugo. I get to kill him at the base. Midoriya walked through the portal. While walking through, he heard screaming as oh no, never mind. Midoriya's portal closed. When he got there was Dabi. He had Bakugo in his hand. As he chained Bakugo up and put him in stuff so he couldn't use his quirk. Midoriya stood there smiling, ready for what he was gonna do to Bakugo. Okay, let's gonna end this video off right there. Okay, I'll see you guys. Oh, I won't see you, but bye. Whatever. Sorry.